Aaron Rashba,
Here.
Andrea Jordan,
Here.
Shaquille Ali,
Here.
Eileen Policarpio,
Here.
Anthony Sujisaka.
Here. Thank you very much. All right, and now if we can have the students from MP Brown, thank you for being here. If we could have you all lead us in the pledge, we'd be honored. So if you may all stand up and go to the podium right there. And we'll follow you all. Flag is over here this time.
You guys, I don't think they need it. I mean, move it. I'll move it. Go ahead, you guys, do your thing. I'm not saying it's what Don't be shy, don't be shy. We're rooting for you. We're rooting for you. My hand on your heart. They're present. Go. You're good. Go. Talk.
Right hand on your heart. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all.
Excellent. Thank you very much, students. All right, item 4, approval of the agenda. If I may get any comments or amendments, otherwise I'll take a motion.
I move that we approve the agenda.
There's a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
There's a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. All right, we have our first presentation. We have 2 special presentations this evening. First will be from MP Brown Student Leadership. Miss Beth Goff, the principal, did I pronounce that right? Okay, good. Principal and representatives from MP Brown School will present about their school leadership for the 25-26 school year.
Good evening. I am Beth Goff, the principal of MP Brown, and I have our student leadership team, junior coaches, and peacemakers here to talk to you all about our PBIS. Oh, look at that. Okay, so for the 2022, 2024, 2025 school years, MP Brown has received from the state of California PBIS, the platinum level recognition for PBIS, and PBIS being the positive behavior interventions and supports. And one of the main reasons we have received that is because of our students and their involvement in our process. So we have junior coaches and we have peacemakers. Junior coaches help teach games, follow the rules, make sure everyone has someone to play with. Peacemakers work with our school counselor, Miss Wong, and they learn conflict resolution and they settle disagreements out on the playground. They learn how to use the peace path in order to do that. So student leadership, are we ready? Okay, student leadership helps. One of their roles is to help support our expectations, our pillars of excellence, being respectful, responsible, engaged, and safe. And they do it primarily at lunchtime in the MUR and on the playground. So our objectives as junior coaches and peacemakers is to help our younger students play safely, be a role model, find our strengths, and build comfortable and safe community.
Hi, my name is Pedro, a 5th grader at MP Brown Elementary School. I chose to be a junior coach to help younger kids play safely and fairly. One memory when I was young was when a junior coach helped me when I kept missing my shots in soccer. And I wanted to keep the chain going. That's why I think being a junior coach is important and helpful.
Hi, my name is Monroe, and I'm a 5th grade student at MP Brown Elementary School. When I was younger, I liked how the junior coaches were helping and taking care of us. Like when I kept missing in basketball, they taught me how to shoot it better. and that made me want to be a junior coach so I could help kids too. What I like about being a junior coach is that I get to help and teach kids in certain sports to have more fun. I also like being a junior coach with my friends because it makes it a lot more fun for me.
Hi, my name is Ilani. I'm a fifth grader from MP Brown Elementary School. I chose to be a peacemaker to teach and show the little kids on how to act to other people and how to play safely. What I like about being a peacemaker is to make sure that not only the little kids but also the bigger kids are safe and happy about their community. A memory I had with the peacemaker one time was that I didn't have anyone to play with, and the peacemaker saw me alone and decided to play with me. That inspired me to be a that inspired me to be a peacemaker and play with the little kids. How the peacemaker played with me when I was alone. Being a peacemaker helps our community because I get to teach everyone how to learn how to be respectful and engaged to the people around them to have a safer community.
Hi, my name is Savannah. I'm a fifth grader at MP Brown Elementary, and I chose to become a peacemaker because I want to be able to help out the younger kids on the playground so everyone could have a fun and safe community. I also want to make sure the kids are being safe and kind to each other. There once was a memory with a peacemaker that I had in the past with another peacemaker, and she was so caring and kind who would help out others, and she inspired me to become a peacemaker because I wanted to learn to help other kids just like her. A small deed makes a big difference, and that builds the fun, responsible, respectful, engaged, and safe community at MP Brown.
Good job, guys. So our junior coaches have a very tight schedule, as you can see. There are a lot of them. And our peacemakers also, we have quite a few. They go through extensive training with our school counselor, but we are super proud of the work that they put in. Yes, they do get to get out of class, and that's a little bit of an incentive, but it's also they understand their responsibilities. You heard from them, and we are very, very proud of them at MP Brown. Thank you, guys.
Excellent, thank you. Before you leave, we have, well, first of all, we're gonna actually go through and have some comments or questions if we have any, and I will start on my right.
I'll just say thank you for the wonderful presentation. Congratulations, Principal Goff and MP Brown, on your Platinum PBIS status. Three of the last 4 years, it sounds like. That's wonderful for our district. And thank you to our student, junior coaches, and peacemakers. You all spoke really well. This is such an important program. I'm so glad that we have it at MP Brown, and you're really helping everybody to feel part of the community, and that's so important. Especially for younger kids getting used to school and maybe not knowing how they fit in, and you're playing a really vital role in furthering that along and bringing our school together. So thank you.
I echo my board trustee sentiments. I want to just thank you all for coming here today, and the parents who are fostering the children and their leadership skills. You're going off to 6th grade next year, and so keep it up. There are opportunities for leadership in middle school, and this is kind of a foundation and a stepping stone to continue those skills as you move on to the next stage of your school careers.
This is always our most favorite time to see you come here and show your skills and show your leadership and let us see how, when we talk about we want our schools to be safe and welcoming environments, it starts from you. You get to let the other students know how things are done at your school. So I heard some good themes in there like safety, inclusion, resilience, people getting better at things and practicing. So these are all good skills that you're fostering in your schools. So thank you so much.
I think you guys did a great job speaking. I know it's not easy to come up, and we actually have a really full house today. So Congratulations to Pedro and Monroe and Leilani and Savannah for speaking so well. I also have two kids, one in TK and one in kindergarten, and they love looking up to the big kids. So thank you for being the kind of big kids that the little ones look up to. You guys mentioned the little kids a lot, so you really do make a difference. So as a parent with little kids, thank you to the parents who are raising these big kids.
I don't really have anything else to add except for the little bit of like time that you are missing from school. You're still learning, so you're not really missing time from school. You're just doing the learning in a different way. Learning can be done multiple ways at school, from academic to social. It's all still learning. So thank you all for being here. And before you all go, we do have some certificates we want to give you for coming and speaking, and also for doing our pledge. So I will start on my left to present the certificates.
Monroe Magno.
Certificate of Appreciation for Savannah Nubla.
Certificate of Appreciation for Leilani Rose Mangoba.
And Certificate of Appreciation for Pedro Rosende.
Excellent. Thank you so much. So we'd like to ask all of our families and students to stay to item 6B, which are superintendent comments. All right, so we move on to item 5B, which is juvenile justice and delinquency prevention. San Mateo County Juvenile Justice and Delinquency Prevention Commissioners will inform the board and public about the work of the commission related to juvenile justice and delinquency prevention. All right, the floor is yours.
Okay, mic is on. Thank you. I think you have our slides. Okay, so let me just make sure I'm on here. Okay, thank you. Okay, thank you. Appreciate that. Okay. All right. So thank you for having us here tonight. My name is Johanna Rasmussen. I'm the chair of the San Mateo County Juvenile Justice and Delinquency Prevention Commission. I'm here with a fellow commissioner, Jennifer Blanco. And there we go. So our commission is a joint state and federally mandated commission. We are appointed by the Superior Court and the Juvenile Court, as well as the Board of Supervisors. And our role is to ensure oversight of the Juvenile Probation Department and to coordinate delinquency prevention efforts throughout the county. So you'll see here up on the slides, there's our sections, our welfare and institutions code, sort of like the background of what why we exist. One of the reasons why I do this work is I come from a long line of police officers in my family, goes back 5 generations, and my own child entered the system. So I figured if it can happen in my family, then how could I be of service to others and use my experience to help others in that situation who may not speak the same language or understand the system the way I might. And so that's my why for doing this work. So in the juvenile justice system, cases are decided strictly by judges, and there is no jury. The focus is on rehabilitation and not punishment. There's no cost to be represented, so your attorney is free of charge. We used to actually charge parents for keeping the kids at the hall. When my daughter was there, I believe it was $30 a day for juvenile hall. This is 30 years ago. And $86 a day for the California Youth Authority. So it was very, very expensive, and we're going back many, many years. But we were able, through legislation, to get rid of those fees. Court hearings are confidential, with the exception of 707B offenses, which are our most serious offenses, and those cases, the public is welcome to come in and observe those cases and how the system works. There are no fees for any type of incarceration, electronic monitoring. There's no cost involved with that. And of course, unless in the most heinous of cases, you cannot seal your record, but the vast majority of cases you can seal your record. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, so California juvenile justice reform. So in the last decade, we've had major reforms. Mainly that we closed all of the California youth prisons, which were historically known for being sort of a breeding ground for abuse and trauma. And so we closed those officially on June 30th in 2023. And now we keep every county in the state keeps youthful offenders in our county at our juvenile halls, or what we call secure youth treatment facilities. So we also passed SB 203, which requires that whenever a law enforcement officer, has an interaction with a youth and is going to detain them, that they must call the hotline to speak with an attorney. They cannot speak with the youth before they speak with an attorney. That's very important. A lot of people think, oh, they'll let the parents know. That wasn't happening. And so this was really important. Also, AB 2361 eliminated youth transfers to adult court for 14 and 15-year-olds. It wasn't too long ago that if you were 14 or 15 and you committed a murder, you could be tried as an adult and sent to an adult prison, for sometimes up to 25 years or more. We also passed SB 439, which means children 11 and under cannot be detained or prosecuted. So we even had to go out and educate some of the police departments on that, because they weren't even aware that they couldn't, detain youth that age. Big move with AB 2417 with the Youth Bill of Rights. It goes with a whole long list of what youth are entitled to when they are in the system or incarcerated. And then most recently, the governor just signed AB 1376, which limits probation to 12 months for any youth who has not gone into the juvenile hall. There's different rules based upon, if you go into the hall. Okay, next slide. Okay, so juvenile trends. What's going on in San Mateo County? Well, I can tell you that our top crimes are robbery, assault, gun possession, and retail theft. And then juvenile drug use, marijuana, vaping, lean, which is like a cough syrup, and the pills are Adderall and opioids. And unfortunately, fentanyl, because a lot of the kids don't realize that the pills that they're getting are really fentanyl. Next slide. Okay, so this is a picture of our Youth Services Center. It's located up off of 280. You might see this really weird-looking green building on the side up there by 92 in Belmont. That was our old girls' facility, but it's located in the same sort of complex. Going off of last year's numbers, the average daily population was 25. We're hovering around 30 now. The average age is 16. 95% of our youth are youth of color. And I think that number is probably, I think it's more like 98%, quite frankly. Our average length of stay is 55 days, and we have 8 youth currently committed to our secure youth treatment facility. Those would be the ones who are eligible to stay up until they're age 25. Those youth are, by law, they're allowed, they have court-ordered individualized rehabilitation plans to ensure that their needs are being met and they're getting the treatment, services, and programs they need to transform, to heal. Well, there's a lot of trauma in those spaces. Okay, thank you. So our top 5 cities, historically, it's always been Redwood City and San Mateo, always vying for first and second, right? But this last year, I was surprised to find that Daly City has creeped up to number 2. So we have work to do. We have work to do here. And then our San Francisco number is about 40% of our youth are out-of-county kids, and the majority just because of the borders. A lot of kids don't even realize they're in Daly City. They think they're still in San Francisco. So, okay, next slide, please. Okay, current initiatives and projects. So a few years back, our district attorney, Steve Wagstaff, had filed multiple petitions to send youth to adult court. That would be our 16 and 17-year-old youth. And we were successful in defeating every one of those. So they were able to stay in juvenile court. I think the Supreme Court, all the research shows that adolescent brains are different than adults. And they need to be in a system that is more focused on transformation and not punishment. So we're working to educate others on juvenile transfers. We help educate other commissions And we're out always meeting with political organizations and having them sign on, people like ACLU, different big organizations who joined our effort in trying to stop that practice of sending our young people to prison. So alternatives to incarceration would be like creating a step-down program, a community-based alternative to incarceration, reimagining our juvenile hall, improving the conditions there, particularly our food, which is made at the county jail the day before and then sent over the next day to be reheated, and it's really terrible. And then to provide comprehensive reentry services, because a lot of times what we were doing is kids would turn 18 and we'd terminate them and they wouldn't have the services or help that they need to continue to re-enter and be successful in the community. And so we are always advocating for improved access to mental health and substance abuse. Unfortunately, we don't have a single bed for juveniles in the entire county for substance abuse. That's something we're working on. And we're also working on county-wide delinquency prevention. And I'll let Jennifer go ahead and tell you a little bit more about that initiative.
Thank you, Ms. Johanna. One thing Johanna failed to mention is that she's one of our most senior commissioners, 6 years or so. I'm in my second year, so I want to introduce myself first. So thank you all for the invite to allow this time and this space for us to come and present on the commission's work. I really think it's important that we share that a Juvenile Justice and Delinquency Prevention Commission exists in our county. So my name is Jennifer Blanco. I was one of your former colleagues. I was a board member for San Bruno Park Elementary School District for 17 years. I was involved, I have 5 children. My oldest is 34. So I usually tell people you can go ahead and do the math on how long I was involved in San Bruno Park. But I was also not only involved in San Bruno, but I was also involved on various countywide positions here in our county. And so when I found out about the commission while I was still on the school board in San Bruno, one of my main concerns and focuses when I had approached Johanna and one of our other colleagues, Paul Bocanegra, when they invited me to apply to the commission, was what is the work of the delinquency prevention part of the commission doing, and are you reaching out to our 23 school districts here in our county, our 17 elementaries, 3 union high school districts, and 3 unified school districts, and how are you all partnering with the school districts? And the relationship has been pretty non-existent. So what we started working on was we're looking to improve those relationships. Thank you again. I just want to let you know that your district is the first district that we're actually presenting, introducing ourselves to your district and to the community here in Daly City. And so we have spoken about, one of our initiatives is we're looking to improve the relationships and strengthen the partnership. So we actually have broken up the county into 3 areas, North, Central, and South County. And we're going to be implementing a school district liaison initiative where we're going to have commissioners be assigned to these 3 areas in our county. One of the roles and responsibility when we do roll this out is, for example, Johanna and Paul, they do a lot of advocacy work when youth that they've established relationships with or their parents will call them and say, hey, we're having a situation with so-and-so school district, with our school, can you come and help out? They go in, have these very intimate setting meetings, and wherever there is a situation that may need some resolving, Paul and Johanna are pretty good with their advocacy skills, where they go in and they help resolve and to ensure that that student is receiving the services that they need in order to keep them there at their respective school. So that's one of the initiatives that we're working on. And the other one is we're planning a countywide delinquency prevention conference. Our title of the conference is the first of its kind. It's the first that I've ever heard of, and I know that San Mateo County has never done anything like this. So we're in a good place because this can grow into something bigger and better as each year passes. So the title is Prevention in Action, Schools, Communities, and Youth Voices. We're going to be having a keynote speaker. We're going to provide 2 sessions of workshops, and we're going to have, at the end of the day, a system-impacted youth panel, because we feel it's very important that the youth who have been system impacted, with the primary audience of being school district personnel stakeholders in each of these 23 school districts, hear from our youth to see, hey, what happened to me in my school that led me down this path? And I think that's an important message. I think it's a discussion long overdue. And I think that we, by working together with our respective school district partners, that we can do that by working together and see what the needs are and how we can focus on moving forward. So that's my part of the presentation. And do you have anything else, Ms. Johanna?
Yeah, so,
Okay, all right.
thank you. Thank you, Jennifer. So, so how
Just a
can,
really quick second.
Yeah.
If we are going to continue, we need a motion for more time. So do I have a motion?
I move that we give them 10 more minutes.
okay,
I hear
thank you.
There's a motion.
Yeah,
and a
we
second.
probably won't need it. We're wrapping up, so,
Yeah.
but thank you.
All
Okay.
those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you so much. So how can you make a difference? So you can, because we know now that prevention cannot start in high school, it cannot start in middle school. It has to start in elementary school. That's where we're starting here. So to establish goals to reduce contacts with law enforcement, right? Through building partnerships with organizations such as ourselves, restorative practices like I heard these young folks doing, that's fantastic. So you're already ahead of the game in that way. Create more opportunities for teens to participate in pro-social activities. I mentor several foster youth who are dual system impacted, who live in Daly City, and Shaquille can tell you, I'm always calling saying, why can't my kids play basketball across the street? No one's at the school. They don't have money for the rec center, and they need to be over there. But there's policies that keep them out, right? So if we can just look at, I understand there's reasoning for these policies, but we also have to look at who we're shutting out, our most vulnerable youth. And then commit to dismantling the school-to-prison pipeline and implement evidence-based campaigns to prevent bullying. All of the youth right now who've committed murder in this county that are sitting in the SYTF tell me that their issues started with bullying in school. And it was through bullying that they joined the gang and things got out of control. So bullying is a key issue. And then, again, partner with us. And then, go ahead, next slide. And then for the audience, for members here, how you can get involved personally. You can attend our meetings or watch them on YouTube. We meet on the last Tuesday of every month at the County Center in Redwood City. You can offer your voice at City Council, at Board of Supervisors. We need more funding. Follow us on Instagram, educate your family and friends, or if you know of another place that you'd like to invite us to speak, we're welcome to come. All right.
One more thing I forgot to mention. So when I was on the school board still, we had a couple of commissioners who drafted up a resolution for our county, because our DA's office, they, as Johanna mentioned earlier, regarding charging our youth as adults. That's something that they like to do here in our county, and as she already mentioned, I'm not going to reiterate the reasons on why. So San Bruno Park School District, we were the first school district here in the county to support the resolution. The resolution that they supported was for our county not to try youth as adults. And so that's another way that your district can get involved, and you all can support the same resolution. So if you're interested in looking at the resolution at a future board meeting, we'd be more than happy to provide that resolution for you.
That sort of wraps up our presentation. If you have any questions, we're happy to answer.
And I also have some business cards. I'll pass them out if you all or the audience has any questions for us.
All set? Okay.
All right, thank you for your presentation. We are going to go around and just have like one, and if we have any comments or questions, they can ask. So I will start this time on my left.
No questions, but I did want to say thank you for the work that you do. It really does start super early for these kids, and I think the bullying prevention and things like that, it's just you hear it, and you're never too young to be able to get these kinds of services. I think there's always cries for help that don't always go seen or heard, and so to know that there are people like you to doing that work you do, just thank you means a lot. So no questions, but just thank you for doing a really great job in helping our kids.
And thank you for coming tonight. As some of you know, I'm also a commissioner. And, as we always say, we set trends, positive trends in our district. We're always ahead of the curve. So I know I've been talking to some of the high schools, and what the high schools said that they need help with is communication from the probation department. So youth are getting, arrested and incarcerated, and then they just pop up back at school, with no type of plan, no communication with the schools. So I know that's something that, as commissioners, we could try to, help with that issue. But as a school board member, what would be the highest impact action that I could take on this board to strengthen our relationship with the Juvenile Justice Commission?
Well, I would start by saying our conference is going to be on January the 7th at CSM. They're our partner. So you'll be getting an invitation. Please take us up on that invitation. Join us. There'll be lots to learn there. But again, rethinking policies, use of spaces, how you can identify, youth where you can build partnerships with the city and the rec center to give them those free classes, those free things to do. That would help the most because it puts them in a very pro-social environment, keeps them out of what's happening in the neighborhood, and puts them on a good track. It creates self-discipline, it's health and wellness, it's just a win all the way around.
Keeps it busy.
Right.
Thank you.
I also want to say thank you for your advocacy and all the hard work that you're doing. It's so important that you're educating, and we have a full house here, and so I'm hoping that people are listening to what you're saying and going back and taking what we've learned here today to their families and their communities. It's, as a woman of color, it's really heartbreaking to hear that 95 to 98% of the youth are youth of color. What do you think? Or do you think that implicit or unconscious bias at this very low level at an elementary school could be a part of what's causing some of our students to kind of, or our children to start to go in maybe in a wayward way because they didn't have that support at a really early age?
I can't really answer, where it starts at the school. Some things go unnoticed, I can't speak to that specifically. I don't have any evidence to suggest where that's starting. But I can tell you that we have there are certain areas of this county that are over-policed. They are, and I come from a law enforcement family, but these neighborhoods are constantly being targeted, and you see that those are the kids that are sitting up in the hall. So I definitely see the correlation between over-policing underserved communities and incarceration, juvenile incarceration.
As my experience as a board member, I think strengthening the parent and school, home to school partnership, we do have some families, some parents that do not understand our public school education system. So first, having them understand that, and then also establishing the relationships with our parents, especially with our parents that don't come to these meetings, that don't come to parent-teacher conferences, not part of the PTA, not attend school site council meetings, or even involved with their district-wide LCAP advisory committees or such, right? Those are the parents that we need to target, because these are the parents whose children are becoming system impacted. And so establishing those relationships with our parents and empowering them, letting them know, hey, we're here to work together. These are the issues. I know sometimes we have parents that might be in denial, but we still need to keep trying. We need to keep trying because sometimes we have families that don't want to believe that there's something going on with their own child, right? But we need to establish those relationships. And I think to answer your question, Andrea, with my experience, that's where I think our school districts should be really stressing and focusing all their time on.
I really appreciate that. You said something about understanding, and Trustee Ali said something about communication or more communication. And I think there's a statement that's always said is communication is key, and what I realize is comprehension is key. If they don't understand, it doesn't really matter what you said to them. And so I would just encourage those in the crowd, those that are listening, and obviously our board to really focus on, it's fine to communicate, but have we realized that, do they understand what we've said, and do they understand the impact, not just in the short term, but in the long term, not just for our community, but these children's lives as they go on and continue to grow in the future. So thank you.
You're very welcome. I think now with the administration that we have in the White House and everything that's going on with immigration policy, I think that we need that even more to make people feel safe, to make sure they understand.
I don't have any questions, but just wanted to thank you, Johanna, thank you, Jennifer, for coming tonight, and thank you, Trustee Ali, for serving on this very important commission. And I think it's great that you are going before all of the school districts in our county to spread awareness about the work that you're doing, caring for our children who are in the system. And I think it's just a really important partnership that we as the school districts, school systems have. A subcommittee I serve on is with the community, and we've engaged with our law enforcement officials and trying to foster some of these programs that you're speaking about. So thanks so much for the work that you're doing and educating us tonight.
Thank you so much. So one last thing I will leave you all with is, I think that making sure that, so we know, when we hear about the unheard and the unseen, this population of our youth, our at-promise youth, that's exactly who they are. Being on the board for as long as I have been, I was a member of 2 nationwide organizations, and I've gone to nationwide conferences and or institutes or professional development, or here in California, I also belong to 2 statewide organizations. And the same thing. This population of our youth, they're not being talked about. They're not being addressed. Their needs aren't being addressed. And so I think that we need to ensure that we provide that space to start having that conversation. I think it's going to really be a game changer here in our county. And so just wanted to leave you with that. And thank you so much for the invite. We really appreciate it, and we look forward to working with you all.
And then I have no comments or questions, so thank you very much. All right, and we move on to board members, item 6A, board member acknowledgements and commendations, and I will start on my right.
I have nothing at this time. Thank you.
Yep. So I wanted to give a huge shout out to the board members of the Kids First Education Foundation. This was discussed at the committee meeting that I missed, right? So I recognize some familiar names on that board. I think it was Bernie Vidalis, our previous superintendent, Melinda Dart, Elaine Francisco, Clayton Koo, former board member. Who else is on there? Sandy, Superintendent McCooley. I know I'm leaving someone out, but just a huge shout out. We definitely need that foundation to be functioning and to expand to support all the good work that all of us are used to having here at this in this district. So I just want to say thank you to those veterans for joining that board and helping us with fundraising.
Still new. I don't have anything to say.
I don't either. So we will now move on to superintendent comments.
Yes, I want to thank our MP Brown students. You did an excellent job sharing your experiences, and I think that you are all great leaders, and I hope you continue to be leaders in the future. And thank you, Ms. Goff, for your presentation. I also want to thank all the families for completing that meal application. We're going to try to simplify it next year, but we had our drawing for everyone who applied, and I've been giving prizes out to school. And MP Brown won the grand prize, which I'll be delivering tomorrow. So Sodexo donated a bicycle. So the student won a bicycle. We'll be receiving that tomorrow. Dave & Buster's was also a big sponsor, so every school site won prizes for Dave & Buster's. We also had Kids First Education Foundation give a lot of prizes and personal prizes from the president, Clayton Koo of Kids First Education Foundation. And also we want to thank Duggan's funeral home. They also donated some prizes, as well as City Council member Teresa Proaño. So we want to thank them, and we'll be thanking them in our social media and our district newsletter as well. I also want to congratulate all of the girls volleyball team members and coaches. Ben Franklin girls team, coached by Cecilio Aquino, they won the championship game, which was before the last meeting, or since the last meeting. So congratulations to Ben Franklin. Fernando Rivera put up a really good fight. It was a nail-biter game. So I want to thank all the coaches and everyone who's part of that. Also, I want to wish everyone a happy Thanksgiving. We won't be seeing everyone until after Thanksgiving, so wishing everyone, being thankful for everyone and the work that they do.
President, before you reminded me of something, Superintendent Mikulik. I was at ceremony, and I'm pretty sure everybody in here goes to ceremony, and I saw a sign that said, if you take your receipt to the information desk, that money, we can get money towards our district. So I don't know.
I believe a lot of our schools do it, where it goes directly to the schools. Earning for learning.
Okay. Well, we need to publicize that more and promote it more. I don't know if I knew about it before or it just stood out to me this year, but that's something that we all should get involved in. Thank you.
Excellent. All right. Now is the time. If students, you've been staying very late, so thank you for joining us. If your families want to take you home, they may. You may also stay for the rest of the board meeting. That is up to you and your families. All right. We move on to item 6C, persons wishing to address the board. I will wait because I need to read the statement. All right, this portion of the agenda is available for individuals to comment on or address the board on any issue that is under the board's jurisdiction and not on the agenda. The maximum time allowed for any speaker is usually 2 minutes. We will display the 2-minute timer on the screen. If the timer ends, I will stop you if you go over. If the timer ends, I will stop you if you go over. As a reminder, the board may not comment on or discuss items that are not listed on this agenda or expressed during communications public comment. We want you to know that we will hear you, and we will ask our superintendent to follow up on your comments. Please make sure all your information, your name and contact information is left with Ms. Covray so our administration knows how to reach you. All right, and can I get the 2-minute time? Oh, it's right there. Thank you very much. All right, and our first speaker. Sounds good. And then also thank you, Vice President Jordan, for helping me with time earlier. So I will be relying on all of you to help me with time. Our first speaker is Kevin Owens, teacher.
Hi, my name is Kevin Owens, and I'm a teacher at TRP as well as a site rep for our union and on our negotiating team as well. I'm here today to talk about our labor management relationship because we as teachers feel that it's starting to slide backwards, and that's not something that we want. When our union leadership has brought this up with our district leadership, we were told that it was met with a simple phrase that swept our concerns under the rug. Quote, change is hard. As teachers, we are not opposed to change. In fact, we are constantly looking for ways to improve our schools to better meet the needs of our students. And I don't know any teacher who doesn't make changes and improvements to their teaching each year. We have tried to communicate the realities of our classroom, and we've utilized the communication flowchart that the district provided for us to give feedback on the realities of our classrooms. Our first step on the flowchart is to talk to site administrators, and at TRP, this has gone really well. Our site administrator has done an amazing job, and we love working with her. We feel heard and respected and valued when we talk with her, but unfortunately she just doesn't have the power to address many of our concerns. And when I talk to colleagues across all 3 middle school sites, an overwhelming majority of teachers say that our feedback and input feels like it's treated more as a box to check off rather than as an authentic ask for a professional opinion. I have so many examples of this, and honestly, I'd love to talk to any board members or district administrators in the future, or talk to our union leadership or any of the 30 teachers here to sit down and talk about this, because we just don't have, I have 35 seconds, we don't have enough time. But the main point is this: we're feeling like we're being treated more as widgets in the machine of our school system, rather than as the human beings who have real and important professional expertise and real emotions about our classrooms. When we have communicated this in the appropriate ways dictated by the communication flowchart, we feel it has been ignored and not taken seriously. The change in our district will not solely come from the top down. Any change that we want done in our classrooms, by definition, must be done by the teachers in the classroom. And we hope to be able to work with our district administrators together to be able to make the schools that our students deserve. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Julie Brosnan, teacher.
Together. We implement all the UDL strategies, the cell activities, creative activities, and we have, carefully planned out our lesson plans and activities. And then we're told that, the admin is coming in on a certain day, and it interrupts that flow. And then it feels like, oh, we have to stop what we're doing and put on a show for that particular, activity or skill. And it just doesn't seem authentic. It just doesn't seem genuine, and I would prefer if we were allowed to invite you in on a day of our choosing to say, hey, this is going to fit really well if you could come and observe this UDL practice or this cell activity instead of being forced. And I know we're all here to benefit, the academic level of the kids, and thank you for supporting teachers who care deeply about, our students. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Christian Portillo, teacher.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Christian Portillo, and I've been teaching at TRP for close to 15 years. This is the guy that took the chance on me a long time ago. I'm a firm believer in challenging students to better themselves academically. My students would probably tell you that I expect a lot out of them, which I do, but I'm also a realist. Most years, only around 30% of our students are coming into our classrooms at grade level proficient. It's my belief that, and the belief of many of my colleagues, that when we adapt a new curriculum, we should be trying to adapt the curriculum to our students and not trying to ask students to keep pace with something that even the data shows that the majority aren't ready to do. The goal is to get students to believe in themselves and eventually love math, but that does become a tougher challenge when quantity of the material feels prioritized over the quality, within reason. This year we adapted a new math curriculum, and while it does have many great resources, it does feel at times that the expertise and the knowledge of many veteran teachers goes ignored. Our district loves to emphasize the practice of UDL, but we shouldn't forget that teachers are also people too. The constant pressures and reminders of keeping pace and ignoring the reality of what our students can do discourages and hinders a teacher's ability to elevate a student build a connection with them, and get them to love and appreciate a subject that many of us in this room would admit can be difficult at times. We should be encouraging teachers to embrace a new curriculum, but not completely abandon the vast amount of knowledge they have acquired from previous district-approved curriculums, district-approved PDs, and experience we have on teaching a particular topic. Think back to a teacher who inspired you or that you still remember. Do you remember them because they taught you every lesson in that big textbook, or because they had a unique style of teaching and also made a connection with you? Let's encourage teachers to trust their expertise on a topic while also being creative and unique with their teaching style, and to be thinking about the quality of what they are teaching and not the constant reminder of the quantity. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker is David Finn, teacher at Ben Franklin.
I'm glad I'm going not first, because a lot of what I was going to say has already been said. But yeah, this is the first time I've been teaching for 25 years, 11 in this district. First time that I've not loved my job. And that rubs off for the same reason people have said. We're being force-fed a curriculum. As a result, we lose most of the creativity, accumulated methodology that we know works. We're being micromanaged to a degree that I have never, ever experienced. I've had to be out of my classroom against my will 3 times for professional development just in the last month. And to show you how much I care about this, I rescheduled jury duty so I could be out for jury duty potentially during Thanksgiving break, because I don't want to be out of my classroom. And then now today we had an hour presentation of dance. I think that's super important, but it lessened our class time for 20 minutes. Once again, getting interrupted. Now we found out just today we have a Friday visit, which has already been talked about. We'd love to get more warning and maybe invite you guys in. I had a student come back today to visit from high school, and this is not the first time this has happened. And he explicitly stated that the way that I teach math had made it easy for him, and that the teacher he has now in high school teaches it in a much more difficult way. He uses my methods. Was that the bell already? No, I see I have time. Good. With the iReady digital program that we started using, I think it was 2 years ago, it's terrific. I am still a huge proponent, talking about the platform where the kids can work on their own and it adapts to their ability. The new curriculum, not ready for prime time. There's mistakes. And as other people have pointed out, it takes the long way around. We don't have time for that. We're behind most of the rest of the world in math. So the bottom line, when kids are not in the classroom, when teachers are not in the classroom because they're at these PDs, et cetera, it really wastes a lot of time. And I had more I wanted to say, but I'm going to run out of time. Oh, we need heat. we asked for heaters. It's freezing. They can't learn when they're cold. Thanks.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Zoe Marinkovic, teacher.
Hi, good evening. I'm going to try to read 2 statements from teachers that weren't allowed to be or couldn't make it here tonight. I teach 5th grade at George Washington High School. Number 1, dear board members, I am a special education teacher. In the first newsletter from our Director of Special Education, it says, the case manager develops a behavior intervention plan, a BIP, with site team assistance. A BIP is a proactive, legal part of the IEP. It's meant to address behaviors that interfere with learning. But there's a problem. Special education teachers in our district have never been trained to write one. We've received 0 training ever. Usually behavior intervention plans are written by psychologists or behavior analysts. Our district has 2 behavior analysts. So why ask special education teachers, the group least trained for this task, to take on such an important responsibility? It's like asking a teacher, can you swim? Yeah. Great, you're the captain of a ship with 1 passenger, your student. But I've never driven a motorboat. No problem, just use the radio. Dear board members, please don't let us sink. Thank you. Number 2 from teacher in room 10. Last year, our staff made huge efforts to connect with each student. We made sure every student had a person they trusted and counted on in case they were in need. This was their go-to person. For a majority of our students, that person was our counselor, Miss Jamie. She has been a confidant, a friend, a voice of reason, a provider of consistency and support. Last year, I saw the magic of our school counselor's presence. Students had a safe space in room 11 and a person specifically there and available for them whenever they needed it. This year, in front of room 11, I see students in tears peering through darkened windows looking for Miss Jamie. I see them seeking their safe place, their trusted adult, only to find it is not her day at our school. Her absence has hurt and confused numerous students. How do we explain to a student in crisis that they matter, but only on Mondays and Thursdays? Our kids deserve better. When our go-to person is unavailable, the morale at our school is low. This year, there are more arguments and fights and no one to help them solve it. The students and the staff feel the unrest. Everyone's trying our best, but we can't replace our counselor. Our kids matter every day, and no one should have to wait when they are in crisis. Thank you.
Thank you. And then we have Julian Draper, general education teacher.
Fewer hands, greater needs. This year, more than ever before, our students' needs are exceeding the support we have to meet them. We are seeing a sharp rise in the number of children requiring specialized instruction and behavior support. Students with IEPs and SDC services spending much or all of their day in general education classrooms. But the number of trained adults available to help has gone down. Fewer hands on deck means general education teachers are being asked to meet complex behavioral, academic, and emotional needs that fall far outside their scope of ability as they simultaneously address the need of 20+ other students in the class. Behavior intervention plans are being written and implemented by staff who have not yet received proper training. And while everyone is doing their best, the reality is that it can take 3 months, 2 full intervention cycles, before a certified behavioralist can even step in to help. That help comes with its own long process. The wait time continues. The student needs continue to not be met. Classrooms are in crisis. We do not have enough support. Due to not providing appropriate support, we are fostering an environment that is unsafe. Peers are getting hurt physically and emotionally on a daily basis. Instruction stops, learning halts. Teachers like me are torn between maintaining safety and providing instruction. And the ripple effects are real. Children transfer schools because they no longer feel safe. Families lose trust. Teachers burn out. The system designed to include and support every learner is right now stretched beyond its limits. We need to acknowledge this, not as a complaint, but as a call for action. Every student deserves a safe, supported learning environment. Every teacher deserves the staffing necessary to make that possible. Until we rebuild the network of trained specialists, aides, and behavioral staff our students rely on, we will continue to lose valuable instructional time, and most importantly, the sense of safety and belonging that every child deserves.
Thank you. All right, Ms. Cover, are there any more speaker cards? There are none. Excellent. Thank you very much. With this, we move on to item 7, consent agenda. The administration recommends approval for the following consent agenda items. If there are any that are to be removed or called on, otherwise I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to approve consent agenda as is.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. This is a roll call vote. Ms. Covere, if you may.
Mr. Rashba,
Aye.
Ms. Jordan,
Aye.
Mr. Ali,
Aye.
Ms. Policarpio,
Aye.
Mr. Sujisaka.
Aye. That is unanimous. Consent agenda passes. All right, we move on to item 8A, Technology Department updates. Ms. Tony Baroni, Director of Technology and Curriculum Integration, will provide updates on the Technology Department's progress and initiatives.
Make sure that's working. There we go. Good evening, Board of Trustees, and thank you for the opportunity to present some updates that are happening in the Technology Department tonight. I'm speaking here on behalf of our entire department. Our amazing team is comprised of technicians, data specialists, information specialists, but most of all, just really profoundly kind, caring, and conscientious people who work hard every day to support our teachers and our students. I'm excited to share with you some of the important work that we've been doing since my last presentation, which has been a couple of years. Our core mission really is to work with students and teachers to employ technology in order to provide a wide variety of new ways to teach and learn, and in the process, foster independent thinking, problem solving, and collaborative learning. And our department collaborates with all functional areas in our district. Tonight, I'm going to review our progress across several key initiatives we've been really focusing on, mainly maximizing our systems efficiency for the systems we have and also for cost effectiveness, our mindful integration of artificial intelligence, which we've spoken a lot about here at various board meetings, keeping up with our cybersecurity defense strategies unfortunately take a lot of our time, and all of our efforts in engaging families around digital citizenship. Oops, wrong way. So a core area we've been focusing on is how can we improve not only the systems that we have, our technology systems, but also the systems we have throughout our district. One of our main areas was how do we fill classified positions in a more efficient way? We all understand the burden when there are positions that are open, both at the school sites as well as here at the district office. We were able to leverage a tool, Canvas, which maybe some of you are familiar with. It's actually a learning management system. And we actually internally call it our little HR university. So we've been converting all of our testing that's required for the merit system onto this online platform. Previously, we'd been doing Scantrons and handwritten things that had to be scored. I was able to benefit as the first hiring manager of the system over the summer, and it took about 2 weeks to have the start of the process until I was able to make an offer. Previously, that had been anywhere from 6 weeks to 2 months when you have an opening in a particular department. So the beauty of this system is the minute people finish their test, they hit submit, and it's instantly scored, and so HR is able to move very quickly to move through the next step of our hiring process, which are the interviews and all of that. So that's been one way we've been able to leverage not only a system we already had, but really supporting the open positions. Second one is Synergy. As our core student information system, it houses all of our critical student information system. And so we're finding ways to how can we leverage the data that's already there to, again, improve efficiencies throughout our district. One is in our online enrollment and parent view app. So this new enrollment starting in February, we're going to be launching an online lottery waitlist, which in the past had been a series of spreadsheets managed by people in the office and a very laborious process. We can now have all of that managed through our system. Once students are placed into the lottery system, they automatically get moved to the right school, and will just save a tremendous amount in terms of clerical support. We've also launched parent submitted attendance through Parent Views. So again, parents can now on their app or on the computer submit when their child's going to be out for various reasons, which will save the office staff time from having to make all those phone calls that day, making sure we know where kids are and that they're safe and where they are. A couple other areas, there's a new feature called Analytics, which we're just launching, and it's a way to make all the data that's already in Synergy much more accessible to our administrators and our teachers, so that it's a more visual representation of all that data, so it's not as much about running reports as it is just being able to graphically see something like Sandy's favorite thing, I want to look at attendance every day, and just be able to see that as a graphic and not have to run a report and have to look at a lot of data points. The end of the school year, Synergy is also fading out their grade book to the new one, which the teachers who are piloting it this year have really enjoyed. So that's another focus that we're trying to leverage, is using that as another tool. Other systems like our Zendesk system is our help desk, and so we're just looking at that so we can streamline, when staff get onboarded and offboarded, so we can have that happen more efficiently. Also managing our Chromebook repairs for our kids, which is never fun, but it helps us do that in a more efficient way. Moving on to a big professional learning opportunity we have this year. We've talked a lot about AI and what we're doing with AI. We are very fortunate to partner with the Krause Center for Innovation, KCI, which some of you may be familiar with. I love this quote that we talked about, with great power comes great responsibility. We all know how easy AI is to just throw something in and get an answer, but it's important to think about, all the implications of it and the ethics behind it and all of those other components. So I love this program because if you look at the graphic on the right-hand side, It looks very familiar to what you've seen about universal design for learning and ICANN statements. So these are the ICANN statements that participants of this program have completed. And so it really puts that same focus that we put on UDL into this professional learning as well. The program has 3 main objectives. It starts with the ethics of using AI. So how do we explore equity and bias and privacy? What that practice looks like what tools will teachers be using, and then the application. What does that look like in terms of lesson design and application? Ms. Scott and I started this work last year where we trained all of the teachers on how to use it as a productivity tool. I feel like this is just a natural evolution of that and taking it to a much deeper level. Through this, we've been invited to participate in 2 different programs with them. One is called the AI Capstone Program, and we're able to have 12 teachers go through that program, and it's actually at Foothill College. There's 4 teachers in each of the cohorts. The second one, which we're really excited about, is a JESD teacher-led AI program, where we'll have 30 teachers go through a program that's led by 2 of our own teachers who participated in the Capstone Program over the summer. That's how we were invited, and I'm really excited. One of them's here, and she wants to share just a little bit about her experience and what she's going to do to facilitate the class. So I'd like to invite Kath Boris up and just share her experience.
Hi, good evening. I'm Kath Boris. I teach math in Fernando Rivera. As Tony mentioned, I participated in the AF Capstone during the summer in Foothill, but it was fully remote. And I think one of the main thing that I really liked about the program is it made me see how AI is not lazy. AI is not scary. It's just a predictive algorithm that helps us save time. And I've personally used it, especially in my support classes, and it helped me save time to personalize each learning. Like I have a student with different needs. So I just put in, I don't put names. So that's part of what we're gonna learn in the PD is the privacy and the ethics. So it saves us time to help us make more human connections with the students. So I'm excited and to help bring this program to JESD and to help the teachers understand more about it and how to use it. If you have questions, I can answer.
Thank you. I should mention, as Kath mentioned, the AI Capstone is entirely asynchronous, where teachers are doing it on their own, and through a grant from KCI and Google, they receive a very nice stipend for their completion of their capstone. The in-house program we're doing is the same content, it's just a little bit shorter. It does have an in-person component, so they're going to be meeting 4 times here at the district office and then have some asynchronous work, and Google and KCI will also provide teachers with a stipend for the completion of that program. So we're excited about that. Cybersecurity objectives. So we focus on this on a daily basis, 24/7. We focus on 3 particular areas. One is the actual technology. So how can we apply the security tools to cover up all the holes, as they say, right? Making sure everything is covered. Second is how can we educate our users? You know, when you talk about cybersecurity, they all say it's just someone's 1 click away from causing an incident, right? So you can have all the tools in the world that you want, but we do need to educate our users as well because, like I said, things come every day into our system. And the third is stay informed. You know, we call it a game of whack-a-mole. Even with all the tools, you know, I'm part of a lot of listservs of other tech directors, and we hear about things like, have you seen this email going around? And then we can be proactive in how we can block things that other people have unfortunately had to learn from those experiences. And so that rolls up with us having 24/7 monitoring systems and then us analyzing that data on a daily basis, right? Like, when we see trends coming into emails, how can we be proactive and block those, or various things, and that all comes from the data that we receive from our logs every day. And, you know, the best we can do is really minimize our risk. I don't know that anyone can say we have it 100%. We've seen major corporations be taken down for months at a time, and they've got cybersecurity experts who are working on their teams. So we just try to minimize and mitigate as much as we can with the tools that we have. And we do that on a daily basis. I wanted to talk a little bit about the training that we do. We partner with a company called Know Before. And so we take a multi-tiered approach to our cybersecurity training. One is an annual training for all users in our district that are adults. We don't have our students go through it because they don't have access to the outside world in email, so they have less of a risk of bringing something in. So we do an annual training for all of our users, which many of you in this room probably did. The second one is we have a targeted training based on what we called clicks. So every other month, we send out a phishing test. And when people click on it, they'll get a message saying, you clicked on it, this was a test. Many people are nodding their heads in this room. And based on that, it sends them to a targeted training based on the click that they made. So if it was not looking at the sender, it'll be a short 3 to 5 minute training about looking at the sender before you click on something. So it's targeted to what was clicked on. As people click more often, they get a little longer and more complex. So we call that our click group. What we haven't explored yet, but we do have the capability of, are more in-depth trainings based on user roles. Certain departments, like the business departments, the superintendent's email, tend to be really high targets. So we actually have like fuller length trainings, which we could have certain departments go through that are really targeted toward those. And that's a feature we haven't really implemented yet, but something that we could definitely look forward to. Next, I'd like to talk about our family engagement. Part of the family engagement series, I've been partnering with the Student Services Department, Ms. Martinez and Ms. Santos, on how to support parents in supporting their students in living in a digital world. The intent was to start with one session, and as we were planning, we realized there was no way to cover all of the requests from parents and everything we needed to cover in a 1-hour session. So we decided to branch out and just start with a three-night event, which we've already planned to expand next year. So we had our first night last week, which was very well attended. Amazing conversations with families about how to just build those healthy habits. We kind of called it our tier 1. So before we talk about parental controls and blocking, let's think about how we can set the environment up at home as we do in school so kids can be successful with balancing their use of media and technology. An upcoming one will be about parental controls and digital safety, and then the cyberbullying and digital stressors as well. So our next steps, always our focus on student learning. Our goal really is to provide a blank canvas so that we have the technology when and where we need it, so that teachers can do what they need to do and students can do what they need to do. I was reflecting when I started here, and we were not able to look at digital textbooks because we didn't have the bandwidth to support it and we didn't have technology for our students. And now we don't even worry about those things. It's all about whatever we determine is the best way to move forward. We can look at all of our options and we don't have that barrier that we can't do things we need to do. I recall my first CASP testing season, and we had to schedule when people could do their CASP test because they couldn't all do it at the same time. So the goal really is to make it so the technology is not noticed, where you don't have to worry about it. It's just there when you need it, where you need it, just like it happens in the adult world. You know, my work as an educator, starting in my credential program, has really been guided by the philosophy of Seymour Papert. I don't know if anyone's familiar with that. If you've played with Lego Mindstorms, he and his team developed Lego Mindstorms at MIT. You know, and his vision was really using technology as a tool for self-directed learning and knowledge construction and not just passive consumption. And I feel like that's a focus we have here, where how can we make it productive for students during personalized learning platforms, and also really using it to create new learning and not just passive consumption of it. Second is our family engagement, which I said we are planning to grow and support in the coming year. Continuing to look at our systems and building that effectiveness, always staying diligent with our security and safety, and in these times, being very prudent with our budgeting. You all recall about 5 years ago, we received a ton of money during distance learning. We were able to go one-to-one with all of that money. We were able to put interactive panels in many of our classrooms. Well, those funds are no longer there, so we're working very hard to find different ways to be very prudent with our budget so that we can continue to support that replenishment of all that technology that people have come to count on. It also means really tapping into our reserve and keeping our reserve healthy so that we'll have that money to continue to do that as we move forward. One of our biggest challenges this year is we participate in the federal E-rate program through the FCC. That is based entirely on free and reduced lunch. This is the first year will not be receiving an 80% discount on services. We've dropped into the 60% tier. So we're also looking at how do we mitigate that and find different funding sources that we have been counting on for that. So I'd like to just thank you and just open it up to any questions that you have.
All right, thank you, Ms. Baroni. If we have any comments or questions, and this time I'll start on my right.
Thank you, Ms. Baroni. Really appreciate the presentation. I really appreciate you and the district responding to my interest in asking for this as a topic, and you have given us a really interesting, thorough presentation. You know, technology is something I wrestle with all the time as a parent, you know, seeing much of the benefits, but also the tremendous cost of how consuming that it can be. As a worker and a citizen, you know, AI has tremendous potential, but it's something I worry about a lot. And, you know, we need to take a lot of precautions and research on, and I see, you know, a lot of thought in that area in this presentation. What I didn't quite hear, and you know, you got it at the end talking about, you know, the goal of technology for self-directed learning and creating new learning. I wanted to hear a little bit more about how you feel like technology has benefited the district, and maybe Superintendent McCulloch wants to chime in of you know, just the benefits that you've seen, either, you know, numbers or just anecdotes.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's always hard to isolate one particular tool with like an academic success because there's so much involved in the teaching process that I think it's hard to find research that says it's this one thing that has led to this, right? You know, even though we're one-to-one, has that been a reason for it? No, but I think it's that blank canvas that provides opportunities for what we do with the technology. To me, and I can speak to my own experience as a classroom teacher and how I got involved with technology, is really our fundamental universal design for learning. You know, when I was a sixth grade teacher, I had a textbook. I had a student who was reading at a college level, and I had a student reading at a second grade level. That textbook did nothing for either one of them. And technology was the only way that they could access the standards in a way that was meaningful for them, right? So I feel like we leverage that in those ways. We use tools like digital discovery streaming and Newsela because it levels information for kids. It gives them a different way to receive information. So if some kids are more auditory or more visual, the technology provides those access points. So it's not just them receiving information in one way. It's also giving them an opportunity to show us how they learn in different ways, right? They can do presentations, they can speak, and technology is just there as a way, as a tool for them, but it's not the only way for them to learn. So to me, my bias, I don't know how to teach without it, right? Like I know as a teacher, I couldn't teach without technology because I needed my students to have access to what they needed, and I couldn't possibly have enough paper resources in my room to meet the needs of all the kids in my class. So to me, it's the great equalizer, but that's what I do for a living, so I obviously have my bent. No.
And it's important that we give them that training in today's world.
Right, absolutely, absolutely.
Pam, could you please stop the timer? Thank you. Go ahead.
Thank you, Ms. Baroni, for that presentation. My day job, I actually manage data analysts, data scientists, and so I have an opposite reaction to Trustee Rashba to AI. I'm actually really happy that we're being proactive about it. I actually have done a couple conferences on basically different predictive models and generative AI and how people are using it. I actually use it daily for, honestly, ease of stuff that I would normally do. It's basically repetitive tasks that I can make easier. It's like, why would I do that? by myself if I could just get AI to do it. Yes, it hallucinates. Yes,
Yeah.
it's not going to always give you the right information. That's
Right.
why AI will not take over people's jobs, because it is not there yet. And I don't actually think we always need someone to feed the information for it to learn. And so I'm actually excited to see what we're doing, because it shows that we're being much more proactive and less reactive. At the end of the day, a lot of our students grew up in a digital world. I did not. I grew up, I didn't have a cell phone until I was 17. And even then, it wasn't the iPhones that we have now. It was a flip phone. It had no color. I could only text and call. Now my 10-year-old is teaching me how to use my phone. I'm like, oh my God, I'm like, I guess I turned into my parents now. But it's super interesting how I think we have to roll with the times. At the end of the day, if we do not move forward in a way that will allow them to learn, then they won't learn, because a textbook is not going to give them everything that they need, especially, I mean, some of the textbooks are behind. I think we went to a school board conference a while ago, and they said if you look at the school system today, it looks the same as 100 years ago. But if you look at our technology, it is well succeeded that. And how do you keep up? So I want to kind of touch on a couple things you mentioned. So the requesting of absences, I'm like really excited to hear that, because I actually never even thought, I'm like, oh my gosh, how if a person comes into the office and they have 100 voicemails, and hopefully we don't have that amount of absences, right? But how do they do that, and how do they do their day-to-day job if they're spending most of the day figuring out who's not in school, having to call the parents? It just seems like that is something that could be basically put on technology to kind of handle for them, and then identify this is what you need to focus on today. I think the other thing that you mentioned about cybersecurity, which is definitely something top of mind for me, and I think I might have asked Superintendent to make sure that you touched on that, is I saw that you said that you could do more in-depth trainings, and I don't think that it is ever a bad thing to do more trainings. I understand that that takes away time from, again, your regular day job, but I think if you give people time, and I know at my workplace, they're saying you have to do it within a year. As long as you do it by December 31st, you're in the clear, and then you send reminders every 30 days. Hey, just a reminder, you have to go and do this training. I think that that's important if that is going to protect us in the long run. The other thing that you mentioned, and I have so many notes here, so to disregard, was basically the KCI Center for Innovation, and I was like, with great power comes great. Was that is that Iron Man? No, it
That's
wasn't.
Uncle Ben Spider-Man.
Iron Man said it, but someone else said it first.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
No, but I was just looking at like the ethics, the practice, the application, and I guess I want to understand, like, what is our can you give me some more information on like the time frame for these programs? Is this the first time we're doing this? Is this something that we're going to do long term? How do teachers get selected to be a part of it?
Yeah, great questions. This is our first year doing it. It's the first year that KCI is partnering with districts in this way. They've typically always offered teachers over the summer to sign up for their courses, which is how Kath got involved. I got a call from the director because our two teachers were the shining stars of the class last summer, and they said, we'd love to partner with your district because we hear what's going on there. So we were invited to participate. So we are following their guidelines. So for the one program, we have 12 spots, and so they have 3 cohorts, which coincides with Foothill College's 3 semesters. So we've got 4 teachers doing it right now. 4 will start in January, and then 4 will do the spring semester. So that was kind of their limitation they placed on us because they do provide that grant money. So they're limited by how much money they have that they can pay the teachers. I just put it out to all the teachers in the district. So we were able to fill the 12 spots pretty quickly, and I had a wait list of about 5 people. So it was great. We had a couple people drop out for the spring, and so I was able to pull a couple people off the wait list, so they're now going to do the spring session. But then I told the others that we were going to be offering this in-house program that had 30 spots, and then they've been able to sign up for that. Again, we're limited on the space because they're also providing the grant, so we can have like up to 30 teachers to do that because they're funding it for us. So I haven't heard if they're going to continue with this, but they are building that capacity. So It's facilitated by teachers who've completed the capstone. So right now, we currently have 2 teachers who've completed it, so they're gonna lead this cohort. You know, come December, we're gonna have 4 more teachers who will have completed the capstone, so we're building our capacity for teachers who can lead that program.
Perfect, thank you. And then the only other thing I wanted to mention is, so I do have trepidation around students only using technology.
Sure.
I feel like what we have done, or what we've seen over the past couple of years, especially after COVID, when they had no choice but to learn on a device, is that it's gotten much harder for them to step away from it.
Yeah.
And I think that I'm really excited to hear that we're doing a lot of family engagement and focusing on how they can help support our district with education around safe practices in using technology. What I have seen is that there is a lot of over-policing of real life and not enough policing of the digital world. And that could lead to a lot of situations where students are inward, they're not really able to interact with the public because they're so used to a digital a virtual world that they're kind of encompassed in, right? So my recommendation as a district is, yes, let's encourage them to use technology and AI to learn better if they're, you know, ahead of their classmates, behind their classmates, to get on the same level from an equity standpoint. But how do we incorporate more creative things, programs and enrichment to ensure that they're still able to live in the real world and have fun there as well?
Yeah.
So, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Always am so impressed by your technology skills that I forget that you were a teacher before. So we're very blessed to have that combination with you. My question is a little different. I was wondering, you know, you kind of alluded to how like technology moves rapidly and how when you first came, I remember how it was when you first came as well. But what are some, or what's the next major shift we should be ready for within like the next 3 to 5 years?
You know, so obviously AI is huge. It's growing exponentially. It's hard to keep up with. I don't know that students have embraced it entirely yet, but I think that's just yet to come, you know, given the age of our students. So I think I really equate it to like when the internet first came out, it was the same thing. Kids would go to the internet and copy and paste something and turn it in. Right now they're having AI write something for them. So it's really about that role of the teacher shifting, where we're teaching them how to think, right? And asking the right questions so that you're not getting a regurgitated response that you can easily just copy and paste from the internet. So I think that's ever evolving, and I agree with you. Like, I don't think it's ever gonna replace teaching, because that critical thinking doesn't come from an AI tool, and it doesn't come from doing a Google search and picking the first thing you find and then turning it in as your paper, right? Like, they need to be taught how to problem solve, how to have critical thinking skills to be, you know, critical users of the information that they're getting. We're actually doing a lot of shifts. You know, we were one of the first districts to do a one-to-one, and then post-pandemic, we're finding kids were on technology all the time, and we saw them at lunch, and they were just on YouTube, or they were doing whatever, and we're like, why are we doing all this work and spending all this money? And it's not supporting their learning, and it's certainly not even supporting their SEL. So this year we piloted rolling back, and we're back to carts in 6th grade, and it's been great. Like, you know, kids go out and play, and they go to clubs, and they do other interactions, and so the technology can really be focused on when they're learning and when they need it, and not just something they're carrying in their backpack, they're having at lunch, they're doing all this kind of thing, so.
Well, actually, I was going to follow up on yours as well, actually, because this is the work that I do for secondary level. So if you read the California Vision 2030 and the California Master Plan 2030 for education, both those plans have specific matrices for AI to be. So really, and this is the work that I do, is also career technical education, for those of you who know what that is. And what we are actually preparing for is trying to gear curriculum and AI towards how are they going to be using AI in their work? Because, you know, what happened before was, you know, everything was on paper, everything was, you know, in hard copies, and then we suddenly say, oh, now we can type, we can print, we can do all these different things. So now let's have everything education do the same thing, and now we're currently in that world. So it's just going to continue down that road, but now we just need to educate the students on what is your job going to look like 5 years from now or 10 years from now. It's not going to look the same as it does today.
Right.
So that's a lot of what the plan is going to be doing around AI.
Right, like our big focus was always like, teach kids to code, they're always gonna have a job, and now all of these AI companies are saying, don't bother teaching kids how to code, right? So it's like, we have to totally rethink our whole computer science instruction and what we're doing, because if our job is to prepare them for the real world, we don't really know what those jobs are going to be and how that changes. So,
And then, that's think about that in every single field that exists now, how AI can impact those fields, and then how these kids now are learning things that may or may not be relevant to those fields now.
right.
I did attend Series 1 as a parent, so thank you for that. It was super educational, and I think the families were really involved. My question for that is, are we going to have a bigger location? Because it was so well attended. It was over at Thomas Edison's library, and we were really cramped in there. And
I mean,
so
we had RSVPs and people show up at the last minute. It was amazing. So
yeah,
yes,
no, it
bigger
was
space
it
next
was
time,
very
yeah.
well. It really was very well attended, and the dynamic with the three presenters and how you presented the information, super helpful. So love the presentation. As a parent, that was, attending because I care and I want to know too, right? So thank you for that, and I'm glad to hear that we'll have a bigger space, and thanks for feeding us too. I also work in AI as my day job, and so I think it is important to teach the kids that it's a tool, that it's not their well-being, so we don't end up like a episode of Black Mirror, which scared the daylight out of me a few years ago, and we're getting that much closer to potentially being an episode of Black Mirror. And so thank you for Mirror, thank you for doing the work that you do to make sure that these kids know, like, this is a tool. It is not meant for it to replace what your brain can do. Like, I work in comms. Like, I use the M dash. I am so terrified to use the M dash now because everybody automatically assumes anything that I write with an M dash was AI. And I'm like, no, my brain still works. It works here. So thank you for doing that. And I think as long as we are keeping that in mind to remind them, that it's something to aid us and help. And a lot of the examples I heard from the teachers and even from Andrea, it does take time, like, give me an outline. Cool. Perfect. I could do the outline. I won't spend an hour working on the outline. I'll spend my hour filling in the blanks that go into that outline. And so as long as we are teaching each other and even ourselves as we learn how to all use AI together, like, nobody is an expert in AI yet. Like, it is going to change before anybody knows it. And so we're all learning together. And so as long as we're figuring that out, then, your work is probably very safe because we're always going to need you because who knows what's coming next. So, I mean, thank you. And thank you again.
All right, does anyone have any other questions? I have two questions, but I want to make sure I'm holding space for other questions. Okay, cool. Well, first of all, I am very familiar with your trainings. Second,
I think you've attended some of them. KCI, yeah.
Well, first of all, are there any companies that we already work with that utilize their own security/privacy? Because we know that if you use AI, it's pulling from all the data in the world. It's putting all that data in the world. However, there are systems that can create agents and that controls the data a lot more, that doesn't release it, only uses the data that has access to.
Yeah.
Do we have any companies that we already have partnered, like Adobe or Microsoft or something like that?
Yeah, so we're a Google for Education Workplace Plus district is what they're called. So when we use Gemini, for example, with our work accounts, what we put into it doesn't feed the general Google algorithm the way it would if you used a regular Gmail account. So it's not putting all that information out. We still need precautions and protocols, as Kath said, like, put someone's name in it if you're gonna, like a student's name if you're writing something, because it's not going out into the big algorithm. But, the data's still out there, even though we're in a protected Google for Education space. So that's been one of our big things. Securely is our content filter for students, and we just enabled something there for students so that if a student does go to an AI tool to say, write me a paper on, whatever, it won't give them the paper. It'll say, here's some things for you to think about, and here's an outline. And I even persisted. I'm like, no, really, give me the paper, right? No, write the paragraph. Like, thinking as a middle schooler would. And it won't ever just give them the paragraph that they're supposed to turn in. It just gives you prompts. So Securely is another one of our partners that we've been able to enable that for our students just to alleviate that.
Very nice. No, thank you. That's why I asked the question, because I know some, we already have partnerships, we're already using things.
Right,
So
right.
hopefully they are enabling us to be able to make that safer for our kids.
Right, exactly.
And then my second question is more of an eco-friendly question. Can we get this printed on two sides of the page next year instead of one? Thank you very much. That was all my question.
Yeah.
That's true. I'm okay without it, but we could discuss that later. But thank you so much, Ms. Baroni, for your presentation. It was very informational. Thank you once again. All right, we move on to item 9A, establish date of annual board organization meeting. The administration recommends that the board establish December 10th, 2025 at 7 p.m. as the date and time for its annual organization meeting in accordance with Education Code 351343.
It's an action,
This is
sorry.
an
I didn't-
action, so if I may get if there's any comments or questions, otherwise I'll entertain a motion.
I'll just add real quick, this is a new requirement, or it might not be a new requirement, but we're required to, the meeting before, announce that the reorganization is happening at the next meeting. So you'll see this annually, but we need to take action on this at every meeting before.
And if we refuse, no, I'm just kidding. All right, so again, comments or questions, otherwise I'll entertain a motion. All right, I motion to approve.
Second.
All right, there's a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes unanimously. All right, item 9B, proposed board meeting dates for 2026. The board will review and discuss proposed board meetings for 2026 and to be voted on December 10th, 2025.
If I may, just to point out, it's pretty typical of what we've done in the past where we have one January meeting, and then all the other meetings are the second and fourth Wednesday of the month. This year, we talked about in August just to do one again in the third Wednesday, and then the November, December, usually the third Wednesday. Next year, and for the December meeting, we have to have it later because of the election. So you have to there's a certain time frame, so it's going to be a later meeting in December because of that requirement. So this is what we recommend, but this is not an action item. It's just more discussion. If there's any dates that you feel need to be changed.
All right, after reviewing this, are there any board meetings that we need to change? Again, we're not making action on it, but we can tell them now so they can change it for our December 10th meeting. All right, hearing none, we can move on to item 9C, if that's all right with everyone else. Sounds good. All right, item 9C, scheduling board reports. The board will discuss and schedule reports at upcoming board meetings for members who are attending the 2025 CSBA Annual Education Conference. Just to announce to all of you now, I will no longer be able to go. My work has denied my vacation time, so just to let you all know. So there will only be 3 of you going. And then Superintendent McCulloch.
Yes. So usually what we do is whenever board members go to a conference, the expectation is that they report out. It's usually a 10-minute share out at a subsequent meeting. And so the next meeting after the conference will be December 10th, and then January 21st, pending your approval of that meeting at the next meeting. So what we would like to do is hear who would like to go first in December and who would like to go in the January out of the 3 who are planning to attend.
I recommend going first.
Yeah, I'll go first.
All right, we have Shaquille in the first slot. There's 1 slot on December 10th and 1 slot or 2 slots on January 21st.
There's
The
only
people
2
who
of
are
us,
going,
right? I was like, there's only
know,
2
it's
of us,
just,
right?
yeah,
Like,
well, I'm
Aaron's
just
going.
sitting here looking pretty.
So Trustee Policarpio and Trustee Rashba, do you have a preference?
We can always assign you if you want.
Ladies first, I'll do it.
You'll go on the 10th? Okay.
Oh, wait, I don't know what I just did. Yes.
December 10th? Yes. Okay.
Yeah, all right.
And so you're okay with January?
Trustee
Okay.
Rushba, that's okay, 21st?
So you're doing December 10th.
Okay. Oh, oops, wait.
Is he not doing?
No, Shaquille's going December 10th.
2 people.
Eileen's going December 10th, and then we have Aaron on the 21st.
I thought it was
Yeah.
2 on the 10th and 1 on
Yeah,
the
yeah.
21st.
No, that's correct.
Oh, no, I thought it was the other way. I don't know. I just.
Oh, got it. Yeah,
Okay,
okay,
got
so
it.
then this does need action, so we need a motion on this for Shaquille, or Trustee Ali and Trustee Policarpio to go on December 10th, and Trustee Rashba on the 21st.
Motion to approve.
I have a motion.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. All right, item 10A, Board, September 2025 CSBA Board Policy Updates, first reading. The board will review and revise board policies slash administrative regulations slash board bylaws from September 2025 CSBA board policy updates as stated in a first reading. Yes, we need to do it. No, it's okay. This is a motions or an action, so if there's any discussion, otherwise I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to approve the September 2025 CSBA board policy updates.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes unanimously. All right, and we go to governance team, item 11, governance team member comments, reports, future agenda items, and board meeting reflection. And I will start on my left with Ms. Policarpio.
I don't think I have anything other than this was felt like a heavy meeting for me, and so I will probably just go home and think about things.
Good answer.
That's good. Okay, thank you. Yeah, so I just want to, well, I'll just say that Trustee Rashba alluded to some of the meetings that we've been having with the police chiefs, and I thought it was interesting that, the members of the Juvenile Justice Commission talked about evidence-based anti-bullying campaigns, and that was actually what the police chiefs said to us, that their number one concern with us in our schools was bullying. I don't know if you remember that, Trustee Rashba. And then they specifically said, cyberbullying as well. So it was interesting to hear that. And anyway, I think we did a good job of keeping our, the interests of our students in mind. Thank you.
I just want to thank the students that presented again today. I know that we are not allowed to speak or respond back on public comment. It's always something that has bothered me because I can feel the emotions in the room, and we had a full house today. And so what I do want to say on that is I really appreciate everyone that came out from the unions, from our schools, that spoke up. It's a hard task to come in front of all of these people and speak not only about what's happening in your schools, but really just, what is the word? Trying to encompass those feelings in a passionate way, but in a respectful way in this meeting. And so we hear you. I would just like to make sure that our district, when we respond back to them, because I know that that is something that we do when people come to our board, that we are, informed of what is the outcome of those conversations based on what we heard today. Like Trustee Policarpio said, it is heavy when we hear from our constituents, and it's not always positive. Even though we can't respond back, I would love to see how we are going to at least address and or make sure that we've heard their concerns, even if some of those concerns are not things that we can actively speak on or address immediately. And with that, have a happy Thanksgiving.
I echo the sentiments of Trustee Jordan. I really appreciated all of the presentations tonight, Ms. Baroni, and certainly our students, and really do appreciate all of the teachers and classified staff who came and spoke tonight. We are listening and appreciate it. I also wanted to say thank you to the members of the Budget and Facilities Advisory Committee who came last week to our most recent meeting, and we had a really productive meeting. We worked in groups identifying, went through a list of district priorities and categorized some of those by priority, which was really interesting. We were informed by a survey of all parents in the district and teachers and staff in the district. Got 118 responses on some of these priorities, which informed our discussion. We went through the annual budget went through the annual budget process and had an excellent presentation by Clayton Koo, who I really want to thank for leading the Kids First Education Foundation. Kids First is a key vehicle for the revenues within our district because it provides a way for people to make tax-deductible donations as a 501c3 nonprofit, and Kids First is dedicated to supporting the priorities of our district. So I want to thank all the board members for Kids First, and that one thing that came through in the survey is that many people were not aware of the existence of this organization, and many people wanted to get involved. So there's certainly a space to participate and help our district, and you can go to kidsfirstef.org to learn about opportunities and get involved. Thank you.
Trustee Rashba, so I did notice, that survey result, and I think it was like 70% said they didn't know anything about it, and then I think 30-something% said that they wanted to get involved, but 40% said maybe. So my challenge is, how do we get even half of those 40% to switch over to yes?
All right. Well, I mean, you all have said most of it, so I just want to echo all of your statements because, again, like we all have such unique perspectives on it, and I appreciate how every single one of us brings up different things that now I don't have to say because you already said it, so I appreciate all of you. Did want to add one more future agenda item. I'm disappointed that no one noticed my haircut and didn't want to discuss it with me today, so no, I'm just kidding. Let's not add that. But I did want to say thanks for this entire year. So I don't know how many of you know this, but the board does. This is my last full meeting as your board president until we do the reorg next board meeting. So I wanted to take a minute to thank you all, thank the audience, thank everyone who shows up to these meetings. It's been a really great experience. I've got to experience, as some of you have said, I've got to experience quite a bit in my 1 year as president. But again, I want to thank you for the opportunity to serve as your president. And again, I'll continue to serve on the board next year and see where the reorg takes us, because honestly, it could take us anywhere. So looking forward to seeing where that brings us. All right, with that, we are going to move on. Oh, thank you. Persons wishing to address the board on closed session items. This portion of the agenda is available for individuals to comment on or address the board on an item addressed in closed session. The maximum time allowed for any speaker is usually 2 minutes. Ms. Covray, do we have any speakers? You can tell them to line up outside, please. Thank you. All right, thank you. So and just so we know, there is going to be no action taken during closed session, so there will be no report out after closed session. All right, with this, Superintendent McCulloch, I am astounded. You are right again. So we will take a 5-minute recess at 8:46 p.m.